Hi, I'm Amy, and welcome to my channel. I'm a relationship and manifestation mentor, and this channel is all about merging spirituality and psychology so that you can manifest the relationship that you want. And in today's video, I'm going to discuss the huge topic of everyone is you pushed out and what my interpretation and my experience is of this. So stick around to the end of the video. I'm going to be debunking a few manifestation myths along the way. If you like this content, please consider subscribing to this channel and giving this video a like. If you do want to ask me questions, you can join me live on Mondays at 10 a.m. GMT to bring all your burning manifestation questions. So let's dive into this topic, because a lot of people talk about everyone is you pushed out, and it's actually a watered down version of Neville Goddard's The Whole Vast World is Yourself Pushed Out. So what I've noticed a lot of teachings is that they state that everyone is you pushed out means that you can control somebody else, or that person's a teddy bear, or that person's thinking what you think they're thinking, or that they're robots. And in my experience, this is not true. And also, just a caveat, there is zero judgment here, because I used to believe the very same thing. I used to affirm that I'm on his mind all the time. He can't stop thinking about me. I'm just a magnet to him. And so I've been there and I've done it. And throughout this video, I'm going to advise you and inform you of what my experience was and how to tweak this so it doesn't feel so uncomfortable, because there will be a certain point where you think, this doesn't sound true to me. And that's okay, because it doesn't mean that you're not going to get what you want. So let's talk about what Neville said. So the whole vast world is yourself pushed out. And what my belief system and what my interpretation of this is that your opinions, your thoughts, your beliefs, your feelings are projected out into the world and reflected back at you. So what your opinions are of the world at large is reflected back at you. So Neville also said the only person to change is yourself, and that is true. That is true. You only need to change what's going on within you internally and shift your self-concept in order to see the world differently, to perceive things differently, to perceive your specific person differently. And I used to, as I said before, I used to affirm on a loop that my SP is thinking of me, he thinks of only me, he doesn't want anyone else, I'm on his mind all the time, that he thinks what I think he's thinking. And this isn't true, because ultimately they are at their core the same as you. They still have the same power as you, they still have the same autonomy as you. You're not a robot, so they're not a robot either. They have got their own perceptions, thoughts, beliefs, opinions that might be different to yours. And I think the reason why we don't want to look at this is because to the ego, that's terrifying, because these teachings where you can control the other person is so appealing to your ego, because that means that you can control things. But in actual fact, human Amy doesn't control anything. That's just what my belief system is. I do not control anything. The only thing I'm responsible for is identifying where my self-concept isn't how I would like it to be and shifting that into a more desirable self-concept so that that is reflected back at me. So I'm changing who I identify as in order to see that reflected back to me. So if we take the example of attachment styles, so I was anxious attached, which, if ironically made it so that these teachings were so appealing to me, because as an anxious attached person, I didn't feel like I had control over anything. I was completely boundaryless, and I got a real deep need to feel in control. So these teachings really, really spoke to me, and ears pricked up. Oh my God, I can do this. I can control everything. So of course that did have a huge dopamine hit. So I would really overconsume this information. But then I did get results temporarily. and or they were sort of hot and cold results, because I didn't have the self-concept underneath it in order to believe for real that any of that was true. I didn't believe at my core that I was loved, I was wanted, I was secure. I didn't believe any of those things. So essentially what happened is I got to a point where I started to feel like this doesn't feel true to me. This feels like I'm manipulating something. And essentially that was what I was doing. I wasn't physically manipulating anything, but energetically I certainly was. And we know in manifestation that if you're manipulating, if you're forcing, if you're wishing, it's not going to happen. So I really had to let that go, and that was really scary and vulnerable and painful, because I thought I was giving up control. I thought I had control and now I'm giving it up. But really, I never had control in the first place. So I wasn't actually giving anything up. I was just amending what my belief systems were. Now, as I said before, this does not mean that you're not going to get what you want, because this is why it felt so scary to me, because I thought, well, okay, well, if I let go of this and if I don't believe I have control, that must mean that I'm not going to get what I want. And that isn't what it meant at all. But what it did do was it allowed me to purely focus on myself. So I stopped affirming for him. I got clear about what I wanted, and I got clear about who I was when I had the thing that I wanted. So who would I be when we're living together? So if you want a specific person, or just a relationship, it might be a new person, you might want to get married, for example. Instead of affirming this person loves me, this person wants me, this person, I'm all that person thinks about, start thinking about, okay, who am I as this person's wife? How do I show up as this person's wife? What's my attachment style now that I have this person? How do I feel? What do I do? And how can I bring this into my 3D reality right now? So that shift really did start changing things for me, because once I realized, okay, my attachment style's at play here, I can't affirm over this anymore. I really need to do some deep inner work to change how I'm actually showing up, because I would tell myself I wasn't anxiously attached, but I was certainly showing up as somebody that was. And when I did the work to become more secure and act more secure and think like a secure person thought, I no longer needed to be on his mind all the time. I no longer needed him to validate that I was wanted, that I was loved, that I was the best thing ever, that I was chosen, that I was claimed. I didn't need that anymore, because I was secure now. And those needs, the need to be validated, the need to feel important and prioritized, I was already giving that to myself now. So I didn't need to actually affirm for him anymore. All I did was changed how I was showing up. I changed who I was at my core so that that was reflected back to me. So when we're looking at everyone as you pushed out, within the title, it suggests that the only person that needs to change is you, because it's you that's reflecting it out. You might well, think from time to time, oh, he thinks about me all the time. But also it's so important to ask yourself, why do I need this person to think about me all the time? Why do I need to be on his mind all the time? And I did this, and I really looked at how these things were coming from a place of real fear. That I was afraid that if I wasn't on his mind all the time, that he would find somebody else and that would be it. I wouldn't get what I wanted. So these teachings really do speak to the ego, because we're coming from a place of fear. We're not coming from a place of feeling secure, feeling grounded, feeling stable, because when you are in that state, you automatically understand that this is completely possible for you anyway. So you don't actually need to affirm for your person, because of course they want to be with you. Your self-esteem's better, so you know that you're desirable, you know that you're worthy, you know that you deserve it. And I know this seems like it's the long version, as I've said before. The long way is actually the short way, because you're being sold what is essentially sold as a quick fix. And again, ego loves quick fixes. It doesn't want to wait. It wants instant gratification, which, affirming on a loop, you might well see changes, but they're not going to be lasting changes. And a great mentor of mine always says, you don't want it fast, you want it to last. And, that is essentially what you want. You want something that's going to grow, something that's going to blossom, and really help you see what's going on in you. Because my partner is my mirror. My partner shows me clearly where I am internally. So that's all that you need. You just need to change you. So if you want to be pursued by somebody, or if you want to be on somebody's mind all the time, ask yourself where that desire is coming from. Is it coming from a place of, I'm already this person's wife, or is it coming from a place of, I'm really afraid that this isn't going to happen, so I'm going to affirm whatever I can to force and manipulate this into place? Because that is really the hard way. Because I can tell you now, when I was in that place and when I was affirming, all I really felt was anxiety. I'd feel like the odd moments of relief, but really all I felt was anxiety, because I didn't have the right self-concept underpinning it. I wasn't a secure person. I didn't think I was a great partner. I'd had self-esteem issues, but once I'd healed those, and I'd gone into my trauma as well and healed that, and I could handle my feelings a lot better because I was secure, things just fell into place. I didn't need to do anything on the outside. I didn't need to affirm or manipulate. All I literally did was I would ask myself, okay, now we live together. Who am I now we live together? How do I perceive this situation now that we live together? So even when he was actually physically telling me that, Amy, this isn't going to happen, I'm not going to sell my house for you, I'm not going to move in with you, I just can't see this happening, I would release any sort of control. I would, on the outside, I would say, okay then. But on the inside, I'd be thinking, okay, how do I show up now that we already live together? How do I show up? And it's fine if you feel rejected. It's fine if you feel disappointed. Let those feelings be there, process them properly, and go back to focusing on who you are being right now, and continue to come back to that. Continue to come back to who you know that you are really. You are the person that's married. You are the person that's secure. You are already the person that's wanted and loved and claimed. And you will notice that even when things look like they're not going right, you don't really react to them so much anymore, because who you are has changed. You don't have those reactions anymore. So I really hope that this video has helped you. I hope it's giving you some sort of relief. So if you're sitting there affirming on a loop and you're feeling anxious, it's okay to stop doing that. It is okay. It's not going to make your desire run away from you. It's not going to make things not happen. So like I say, I will do another video on this if you want me to go into more detail. Pop a comment below if you want that. But I will see you in the next video.